We're here at the Brooklyn Bowl with Constant Flow, and we want to ask you what you're doing here tonight, man.
I was rocking a set, doing music out here, representing Viper Records. I'm a newly signed artist to Viper. Just rocking, man, having a great time here in Brooklyn Bowl.
Yo, you kicked ass tonight, man, by the way. I was going to say, I like your flow, man.
Thank you very much. We were representing for the Occupy Sandy movement in solidarity to all the victims affected by Sandy here in the New York City metropolitan area. And I actually did a song that was dedicated to Sandy victims, which was a little bit different opposed to everybody else's set. I had something that was pretty relevant to the actual the idea behind the event.
You got an album out?
I have 2 projects out currently on Creative Juices, which is a label that I was associated with. CreativeJuicesMusic.com is where you can find them. One is called The Storm Mode, and the other one is called The Road. The Road recently dropped on around December 4th, so it's pretty new. I was out there in Europe, actually, in France and Scotland, and in Belgium, promoting my recent project. But I'm currently signed to Viper Records, and I'll be dropping a project February or March, and the name of it, at least tentatively, is Post-American Psycho. So.
Now, recently we're from Connecticut, and we had a tragedy this last week. Any comments on what happened up there?
Well, in regard to the Newtown Sandy Hook incident, unfortunately, a lot of poor souls were killed, massacred, one could say. Things, it's crazy the way our people are. One never knows. It's like a roll of a dice. You don't know who is going to do what. I was recently watching a documentary by Oliver Stone. I don't know, it's a special actually, it's on Showtime. And it's about how America became a military prowess or a military power after World War II. And when we became, with Truman and Eisenhower and the creation of the military-industrial complex and the mass manufacturing and the war economy. And I was thinking, I was like, this guy with this guns, and his mother was a gun enthusiast. It looks like, there's some odd way that could tie into the whole consumer society that we live in. Like, people just buy things to buy things, and the war, mentality that we have as Americans, the violence, you know what I mean? And that someone who's weak can be easily influenced by that. Now, I don't know if I'm making sense or this is just a stream of consciousness, but I feel like all of those are contributors to actually what happened. I mean, we definitely need gun control, but the odd thing is that Connecticut ranks, I think, 5th out of all the states in the union that has pretty good gun control laws or gun laws. New York City or New York actually would probably rank 1. I had a lot of friends who were victims of gun violence, so unfortunately you're not going to stop guns from coming here, specifically from areas like down south. But this was a different situation. The mother was a legal gun owner, I'm assuming, and she was a gun enthusiast. And unfortunately, her son, who probably was mentally unstable, had easy access to weaponry, and no one would predict that anyone would go to a grade school and shoot up a bunch of kids. I mean, that's just inconceivable. So it's a whole bunch of things that tie into it, but things do happen, unfortunately, and that was one of those freak situations. But in light of that, we have the Virginia Techs. We have what happened at the Batman movie incident. I think in Colorado, was that in Colorado? We have the Columbine, it's Waco. Well, Waco, Texas was a little bit different, but
children did die in Waco.
Children did die in Waco. I think one of there was a bombing, I don't want to get off topic, there was a bombing in 1927 by a Michigan man who killed a bunch of children in a school as well. So, history does repeat itself. Unfortunately, this one was done with semi-automatic weapons or automatic weapons. Again, it's an odd thing. It's a mixed bag there when you have this kind of thing. You get what I mean? It's not something that you can actually pinpoint. There's a bunch of factors involved, a bunch of variables. But one thing I can say is that you can't stop a crazy guy from achieving his means. You know what I mean? One way or another, if someone's savvy enough, they're going to do something. We can't live in a society that's super insecure in regard to like, well, we got to watch out, this, that, and third. They shot up schools, they shot up somewhere else. We can implement, or we can come up with innovative ways to restrict people from accessing weapons that they shouldn't have, especially if they're mentally unstable. You know, probably someone should undergo some sort of psychiatric analysis before they go about receiving a gun license. You know, things like that. Stuff that's pretty logic, common sense shit. I'm sorry for the bad French, but you know what I mean. That's the things that it's pretty simple. But then again, I'm coming from a very fundamental viewpoint. It's not like that I'm well versed in this subject.
But your opinion matters too, man.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is that we need to keep crazy weapons out of the hands of crazy people.
And by crazy people, you mean the government?
I guess. You know what? I think that we've been on this planet for about 200,000 years as humans, right? Yeah. And we've had civilization for 10,000 years. And, you know, we've been through so many different forms of government, starting off from like the agricultural communities that existed in the Mesopotamia, to moving on into, religious governments, serfdom, monarchy, revolutions.
Which one do you think worked the best?
I mean,
None of them?
I don't know. You know, the problem is it's all trial and error. But I don't think that the United States government is actually is the worst in the world. I'm not against the government per se, but there are certain policies that are implemented, specifically foreign policies, you know, that have affected us. You know, drone strikes and our support for the state of Israel. Listen, I'm not against the state of Israel. You know what I mean? But the fact that children are dying from phosphorus materials from the sky, and people from Gaza being disintegrated, and nobody's ever talking about that, but that does affect us. You know, we're sad about the little kids that died over there in Connecticut, but no one ever comments about all the kids that are dying in Gaza and the kids that are dying in Pakistan because of drone strikes. You know, one could say we live in a desensitized society until it actually affects us. That's the way how it goes. It's crazy.
Nice, man. Thank you very much.
Constant flow.
Oh, constant flow.
What point are we going to value human life over electronic figures in a fucking computer? Our human race has to evolve. If we don't evolve, we'll suffer the same fate as everything else that hasn't evolved on this earth. We'll become extinct.
Look at everybody as human. You know, we spend too much time dividing ourselves. Like, we have different backgrounds. You should learn about my background. I should learn about yours. But at the end of the day, we have a common thread. We're both human beings.